Yeah, I ended up in customer success coincidentally, I would say. Sendcloud is one of the fastest startup scale up in the Netherlands. I started there about 5 years ago as a customer success manager for the French market. Yeah, we're not selling because we have to sell. We're selling because at the end, we really want to position ourselves as advisors and as partners. I'm very ambitious. And so I was like, okay, it's right there. I'm going to push for it. And I got it and I was really happy about it. It's a tough one. I didn't prepare this one.
Celine, welcome to the podcast, my friend. Thank you for joining.
Thanks, Omar.
So Celine, if you don't mind, I would love to turn back the clock a little bit on your career and ask you how you ended up in customer success in the first place.
Yeah, I ended up in customer success coincidentally, I would say. I moved to the Netherlands about 12 years ago and I didn't know how to speak the language. So when you don't know, but you speak more than two languages, you end up in customer service. So I started in a call center for an American company, which taught me a lot. I was quite hectic. And soon enough, I moved to a different company and we needed to start, that's what we call back in the days, client engagement. And we had a lot of big accounts in the SaaS world and no one was really taking care of them. So we needed to build a team to make sure those accounts would stay and that they would be happy. And that's how I ended up in customer success.
Nice. Okay, so we started off with the call center, and then at some point you found your way to Sendcloud. Would love to know how that happened and what it was like joining Sendcloud.
Yeah. Sendcloud is one of the fastest startup scale up in the Netherlands for the past 10 years. I started there about 5 years ago as a customer success manager for the French market. I just wanted a change. So this is also why I left my previous company. I was ready for something new. And I joined this crazy adventure. We were two CSMs back in the day. So there was not much, nothing was really set up. We were still part of the customer service team as well. Reporting directly to the head of customer support. And from then on, we went from 2 ICs to 30 ICs in 3 years. So we really added CSMs per market, making sure that, everything was working correctly. And we also had to start building processes, which was the most exciting and annoying part, I would say. Started as customer success manager and was promoted quickly to the team lead role, which I still have today. And looking over several markets, actually most of them, except for the Benelux markets, all the markets where we are active on. So France, Italy, Spain, the UK, and DACH. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And so you mentioned, you are one of two customer success managers. I'm assuming fast-growing startup, pretty unstructured environment. Did you just initially know off the bat that this was a perfect fit for you, the role, all those kind of things? I mean, because now I think it is over 5 years that you ended up being at Sendcloud. Was it very abundant to you that this was the place for you to be?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we were quite small back in the days. We were about 100 employees. Now we're 500. So also to see the difference and the growth in terms of employees. I think for me, it was also just the way the interview process went. At Sendcloud, we invite you for a trial day. So you're literally thrown into a meeting room, into the office and talk to so many people. And at the end, you have to present a case. So I also really like the way that they approached the whole interview process and how they really cared about making sure that they were picking the right people. For me, it was a very nice challenge also because we were just closing down the office that we had back in Paris to move the whole team and to start with the whole new French team back in Eindhoven, which is in the Netherlands. So yeah, it was also something new. Everything had to be done. We were on Excel. We were working a tiny bit with HubSpot, but yeah, there was everything to be done. And that's also what I was looking for, to get my hands dirty and to build something together with, at the time, the other person that was there. But we quickly ended up growing. And after 6 months, we're already 10 CSMs in the team.
Nice. Okay. And on that kind of note, so you
Mm-hmm.
join, like you said, it's unstructured. There's two of you, you're in Excel, all those kind of things. You then are going up to 10, then 30 CSMs. In terms of I'd be interested to know, like, more of what CS looked like then, what CS looks like now at Sendcloud, and basically like
Yeah.
what goes into building out these processes and structures and those kind of things.
Yeah, it changed a lot, to be honest. We've been through a lot also as a team, simply because, yeah, we're part of a startup scale up. So a lot of things change all the time. So I think first, as a person, you have to be very resilient, because you know that from one day to another, you have to do something else. And for me, that's okay. I think that's also where I take energy from and where I get the most fun from. We were really not structured in the way that we're really talking to whoever needed us. Also, our customer service team was really small back in the days. Now we have a team of about 100 customer support agents. So we really grew as well to cater to the 25,000 customers that we have, maybe 30 by now. But yeah, we were really seen as this VIP, like this glorified support agent that would answer questions like coming from the biggest customers. So we really also had to send this towards the customers, but also towards the company. So build our own identity within the company itself. But when it comes to the customers, I think eventually we did a price increase of our services. So, quickly we were seen as the ones that were the commercial ones for the existing customers. So yeah, customers also understood why we were there and what we were doing. And we were having the tough conversations for this specific price increase or price change. And then the whole identity within the company followed a bit. But for us also, what changed is that we split from the customer support team and kind of got attached to the CRO back in the day. So, we really moved from this support first to, okay, we're here to bring revenue and we're here to have an impact on, our customer base and customer revenue. So this really made a switch. And that was a year later when also we have my current manager who joined, who's now the VP of the customer success team.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. So from glorified support role to
Yeah.
now, would you say, and perhaps it'd be useful for audience as well, just like just have the quick overview of like one liner of what Sendcloud does. But also would love to know, now that it is a more well-defined structured CS program process, in terms of like CS at Sendcloud, I think you kind of touched on there. It's now very much tied to the revenue team. Is it an extremely commercial role, like the kind of metrics and KPIs and things that you basically care about now as a team?
Yeah. To your first question, Sendcloud, we're an all-in-one platform that helps online retailers and logistics centers to ship their parcels. So we offer software that customers use, and ideally on a daily basis, otherwise it doesn't work. And we also enable them from a customer experience point of view. So maybe, Omar, even if you ordered something, you could have sent the logo at the bottom of the email. So we're quite there. When it comes to what we do today, we're highly commercial, really, really highly commercial. I think for us, it was also difficult to find our place where, as I told you, we started under customer support. We went to the CRO. We had, I would say, maybe a year where we were under a COO. We went back to the CRO, and now we're finally under a CCO, so Chief Customer Officer. And this has been for the past year. And also there was a strategic decision of the company where we really wanted to put our customers in the middle because we were not obsessed enough with our customers. So we decided to bring someone up in order to cover the whole customer facing teams, except for the sales one, obviously. But So now I would say we're back with the customer service team, but we're highly commercial. So as CSM today at Sendcloud has two targets, I would say. The first one is retention of their own portfolios. And the second one is the expansion of the specific portfolio. So yeah, we're highly, highly commercial. And that's really something that we make very transparent also when we hire new people, because it
Mm.
can change from one company to another. But yeah, we even call ourselves revenue crushers. Like we need to
It's
bring in some revenue to also, I think it's also for us, a way to show that we're needed, where,
yeah.
we really, yeah, it's a way to show our value to the company as well. Yeah, but it was tough
Okay, interesting.
to
And
get there.
I would say this is something that comes up a lot these days, especially mentors, mentees, CSMs, anyone in customer success I speak to, trying to make the team more commercial, more revenue focused, all those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find, like you said, as you were, it was unclear who you're reporting to? Was it COO, CRO, CCO?
Mm-hmm.
Now that you try and very much front load it in the interview process, did you find like there's like some difficulty to making the CS function as revenue focused as it is? Or like you said, from top down, it became very clear. And now that you basically, from the very first touch point in terms of hiring, make this the core focus?
I mean, it took some time, obviously, but for us also as a team, as ICs, it was quite obvious, because the more value of the product we show to the customer, the more likely they're going to stay. So we have different ways of cross-selling our customers. And in the end, it's beneficial for them, because we sell them additional services that are going to, help them optimize their logistics or optimize their carrier strategy. So it goes hand in hand where, we're not selling because we have to sell. We're selling because at the end, we really want to position ourselves as advisors and, as partners. So in the end, we sell through our relationship, which I would say is the difference with the sales team, who really goes at it and goes after the new acquisition. For us, it's like, okay, we have a good relationship now. Let's be a bit more, I would say, like intimate, but professionally intimate, and then see what really is needed. Yeah.
Yes, while also being the revenue crushers.
Yeah, exactly. It's, at the end, we know we can do it, and we have very good commercial profiles within the team. Something that we also like to do is that we hire internally. We love internal transfers. At some point in time, like a third of the team was coming from internal transfers. And we have a lot of sales, like ex-sales colleagues that are here. So, they also bring in their expertise and their excitement selling to the team, while at the same time building a relationship to the customer. So that's also, now we're hiring a lot lately, and we're looking at highly commercial profiles. We even created a own branch within our customer success team that is only selling, like really dedicated to selling, where, for instance, I'm going to flag an opportunity and then I will push it to the team. So we're also, kind of changing the way the team is structured in order to answer this internal need, but also external, because we know that customers are happy to get whatever we're selling. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So correct me if I'm wrong. I think it is a year and a half, maybe like 18 months that you are IC customer success manager. I think during this time you might be managing upwards of 170 accounts. I think net revenue retention was like 105%. Could you perhaps summarize your own kind of individual journey, basically what you learned as a CSM over this 18-month period?
Yeah. It seems like a long time ago, to be honest. It was chaos, because at the end of the day, I the French market was quite small, so I was covering all of our customers. There was no distinction. So it was really like everything was falling on my plate, and I was alone for the first 6 months. Then we hired someone. So, it was also someone who was very commercially driven. So we really went for, I remember it was from September to December, where we went full out on upselling strategy. And that really helped us also increase our customer revenue, our revenue in France. But we also had a strong sales team that kept on closing. So we really grew, especially on the French market. And that really, that also made, me learn more, because as you were getting more customers, you also had to give priority to the ones that were important and not the ones that were the most vocal. So it was, learning how to prioritize, also understanding the industry I was and still am working in, because at the end, logistics is not super sexy. And why would I know about logistics if I'm not into it? So,
Sure.
it was all of those different dynamics, also the e-commerce ecosystem as a whole, because customers do not necessarily only want to talk about carriers or how to make sure a parcel is delivered faster, but also like, okay, I need an agency um, to redo my website. I need an agency to make sure that I sell more. So, then you start really getting to know a lot of different partners in that ecosystem, which to me is to this day still one of the most interesting things about our business. Um, and yeah, one thing that I haven't mentioned is that the week I started at Sendcloud, the week after we went into the first lockdown. So for
Right.
us, we we sell parcels in a way that the more customers ship, the more beneficial it is for us, because everything, the subscription is based on the amount of parcels that you ship. So we went through an insane boom. Everyone was at home. Everyone was ordering parcels.
Yeah.
So for us, from one day to another, all of the tiny stores that couldn't open their stores physically had to create an online e-commerce, like online website. So we had so many customers without doing anything. So the first 2 years of COVID were insane for us as well. And, I just remember, because you were at home, you also had very long days, and everyone was crazy during this time. And then for us, there was at some point, because we grew so much, we had to hire a lot of people. So then there was this opportunity for me to also move in a leadership position, which I happily took. And then now 4 years later, here we are, but I think, I'm still learning and seeing how the ICs are developing today. They're different from what I was, like the work is completely different from what I was doing as an IC 4 years ago. Yeah, now it's way
Okay,
more
cool.
strategic, Yeah.
Interesting. No, it's an interesting time, right? Like you were um the contrast between working from home, but then also just like everything e-commerce completely blowing up, and but it was still the same team, or they were trying to also add headcount during COVID to match the
Yeah.
demand, or was basically just over to you, Celine. Okay.
Yeah, no, we kept hiring. It was quite interesting. We had batches of 13 new joiners every month. So remote.
Nice.
So that was also quite interesting. It was fun. I think the company did a very good job in this regard, where we kept having parties online. It's like really making sure that people were, still integrated and still feeling like they were part of something while we were working super hard and working from home. So very interesting times.
Okay, and then you did just mention it there, but you were the IC, then you moved into leadership. Maybe an obvious question, but why move into leadership versus staying individual contributor?
I'm very ambitious, and so I was like, okay, it's right there. I'm going to push for it, and I got it, and I was really happy about it. At the end, I really enjoy having, yeah, I find the strategic aspect way more interesting at this stage, and also the people aspect. I think for me was super. It was really cool to onboard new people, to show them the ropes, to see them also grow and make sure that, every month they were learning new things, they were being more successful with their customers. And that's really something that I enjoy doing. And that was also a natural step for me. And I'm really happy that I did it.
And can I ask how you found the transition? Did you find it seamless just going from IC to team lead? Because I feel like, for context, I speak to quite a lot of first-time team leads who find themselves in a situation where perhaps maybe it's a confidence thing, or maybe there just isn't that much guidance on how to be a first-time team lead. But of this suddenly going from team player to team lead and having to command the authority and respect, and okay, now you are actually not just on the same level, or was this pretty seamless for you?
I think the most difficult part was that you go from being an IC to a team lead with your colleagues, like kind of leading your colleagues. So that's really this part that to me was the most difficult, especially when you were having tough discussions and needed the results to be better and the urgency to be more urgent. So it was really this part, that was the most difficult, having the tough discussions. But in the end, I think that's something that you learn as you go and in your career. And the more discussions you have, the better they get, or the easier they get as well. That was the most interesting one. And to this day, I still kept a small portfolio of customers, also to, know what's going on in the industry. If there are new trends, at least I'm aware, and I'm also able to coach the team better this way. So I'm still a bit involved in the customer day-to-day activities.
Interesting. Okay, so you mentioned like the having the tough conversations with the teammates was one thing. Perhaps now, reflecting on it now, I think it's 3+ years that you have been team lead. This kind of IC to team lead transition. Do you have any kind of like thoughts or kind of takeaways on just like either the lessons you learn or the skill or mindset gap in terms of what is day-to-day performing extremely well as individual contributor to now as a team lead?
Like a takeaway, I think, it's just about being honest. There is no point of, delaying a conversation. It's better to have it now. If there is feedback to be given, it's better to give it now. There's no point of waiting until the quarterly performance review. So it's more about acting sooner than later, which, I also learned it the tough way. So I think what I know now is that communication is key. If you want to have a team who trusts you and understands the challenges of the business and understands what is required for them, they really also need to be open and communicative. I think in the cases where it didn't work is that there was no trust. And sadly, sometimes, it never happens. It's just how it is. But really talking about things, maybe even about feelings, which I hate. But I think, understanding your teammate and what's going on in their life is also going to help you understand why they're performing or why they're acting this way at work. That's something that over the years I've learned, and I thought, I was always like, oh, I don't like small talks, but in the end, small talks are good. You need them, No, it's fine. I don't want it to sound bad, but it's, I think there are things that are not worth caring or paying attention to. And that as an IC you do because you really want to do an amazing job. You want everything to be perfect. And as a leader, there are things that you also do not need to know. You do not need to know everything. You do not need to be involved in every project. And, you also need to protect your time. So it's about putting boundaries and, making sure that you're efficient and you're on top of your game without knowing everything and relying on the team.
Okay, so you mentioned a couple of interesting things there. One about honesty, boundaries, not caring about everything so deeply. Those are in one bucket of skill sets. I would say, and I don't know your latest team stats, but having a look on your LinkedIn, it seems like you are leading a pretty high performing CS team. So it's like,
Yeah.
I think churn is like 1.5% maybe. There was a financial
Yeah.
year where all 100% of major accounts renewed. So this is a team that is firing on all cylinders. Can I ask what kind of goes into, okay, there's like the psychology and the mindset of being a leader, but also then how you enable a CS team to be performing to such a high level?
Yeah. No, to be honest, my team is amazing. I'm really, I feel really lucky about it. I think what ties us, like the common point between all of them is that to this day, they are still very motivated. And I think that makes a difference. They're very motivated, very dedicated. They actually like the product that we're selling. And that's super important. You don't get such joy of selling something that is not interesting to you, you know? So the fact that they're just so into it and so interested about, I don't know, the latest e-commerce trend or the latest, like whatever TikTok is doing, they're going to be like, okay, cool. I need to call this customer because I had this chat and he really enjoys it. And I think this creates a very high performing team where their standards are so high and they want to be the best of themselves. And I'm just so happy about it. And I try to push them towards that direction as well, you know, always giving them feedback, making sure that, yeah, they're just the best version of themselves without so much impacting their mental health. So always keeping this work balance, this healthy work life balance. Uh, but yeah, just pushing them towards the best version of themselves and making sure that they learn every day. As soon as they stop having fun, I think it's not worth staying, you know. And that's also when sometimes we have discussions where I'm like, okay, I see that you're not super happy, you're not super invested, what's going on. And that's also sometimes where we decide to part ways because it's best for both parties as well.
Okay. And yeah, so there's the team elements of it, and we just kind of covered that. You mentioned like on the individual level there's one case where the individual, in this case, isn't a fit anymore and it's to part
Mm-hmm.
ways. I think on the positive side though, we talked
Yeah.
about before we started recording about how much you are hiring. I think,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure internally you are helping develop. So you're taking on those junior hires, promoting them into more senior roles, all of those kind of things. Can I ask on, as a team leader, how you kind of cater to and also kind of having a focus on the individual level so that they are successfully kind of coming into your team, getting promoted, becoming this high performing CSM that you obviously need for the whole team to be performing well?
Yeah. We have weekly check-ins, just making sure that we're updated on, that what's going on. We also have quarterly performance reviews. So every quarter they have goals. We track them. We make sure that they're on track. We have, yeah, we just talk a lot at the end of the day. That's what I was saying. It's more communication than anything else. And making sure that they're not doing things that don't have an impact and that they're always aligned also with the company goals. And the most important is that they understand why they're doing whatever they're doing. If they're like, okay, I need to call this customer and they don't know why, then it means that I failed as a leader and I haven't conveyed the idea or the message that I'm supposed to convey to them. So yeah, all about communication.
Love it. Okay, closing this section of questions about a leader. You have in your LinkedIn description a amazing motto, which is be team obsessed. Can
Mhm.
you, tell me what this means to you?
Yeah, I think over the past years, as of course, we're a growing company, so we've seen a lot of changes in the team with people going and leaving. We've been lucky enough to have a team that stayed for quite a few years. So we had one of the best IC retention in the company as well. So we're very proud about it. For us, yeah, we always put the team in front, meaning that we always listen to the needs of the team, always made sure that they were happy and they were happy to come in to the office and ready to smash the day. I think one of the key points with this is that we were talking about a CSM being very commercially driven. of course, we had and have some hires that are not commercially driven, but they are here with a different kind of expertise. So they're going to be very technical or product obsessed or, yeah, knowing everything about the carriers or the logistics industry that we work in. And in the end, I really want and like to capitalize on all of those skills and make sure that their, their skills are complete the skills of others, and that we really come together as a complementary team rather than having the same profile. And this for me, this for us really worked because in the end we created specific roles for those specific employees, making sure that they could be the best and that their skills could really impact positively the business. And just in listening to them, we got to our results, and it was really nice to see.
Love to hear it. Okay, kind of an extension of this, but perhaps taking a step back from specifically the leadership in your CSM team in particular, just on the kind of general point of how important would you say, and it's kind of like a two-parted question, but how important do you feel like it is that you are a mentor figure to your team, to the people that are in your CS team? And also, did you benefit from yourself being mentored as a younger, more junior hire at Sendcloud or even earlier in your career?
To answer the first part, I love it. I think I really enjoy it. I don't want to sound cocky, but I do think that some of them, see me as a mentor. I mean, they've told me so. I think it's good. To me, it's an achievement as well. I'm like, okay, cool. They can learn something from me, and that's the whole point of it. At the end, I want to make sure that they get to their dream job, or if one of them is like, okay, my dream is to open a surf house in Portugal. I'm like, okay, what can we do today in order for you to get the skill to open this house? So, it's like I always try to match whatever they want to do in life with what we can learn at work. And that's really, it's nice. It's like, okay, I'm working now at Sendcloud. I'm not going to stay here forever, but whatever I learned here, I will apply later on. And that really works. Now for myself, so if I had a mentor, right?
If you've benefited at some point in your career from, yes, having a mentor.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I would say all of my managers, because whether or not you get along with them, you always learn something. I would say that my current manager is a mentor to me. It sounds so cheesy. But it's also someone whom you value the opinion of, and that you go there for I go to him for advice. I make sure that we're aligned, and he helps me also making better decisions while giving me a lot of freedom. And that's something to me that is very motivating. Then, of course, I think at some point I also had a coach, and that was super helpful for me. And then you just end up talking on by yourself. But, it's like just to say things out loud and realize what's going on in your mind really helped me also make better decisions and want what I wanted in my career. So everyone is a mentor, even your friends at some point, So, yeah. Yeah.
Glad to hear, Celine. Okay, final question before I let you go. What advice would you give to either younger Celine starting out as a CSM or any other CSMs listening to this podcast on, how they can build a career they can be proud of?
It's a tough one. I didn't prepare this one. I mean, if you want to be a successful customer success manager, you need to know the product that you're selling. I think that's, the bottom line. You need to know what you're selling, what you're talking about, because otherwise, like, customers want to see you as the product expert. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to build a relationship. Then I would say just to be curious. To be curious, to be curious. Because otherwise, one of the goal of the CSMs is also to ask questions. You need to be able to ask good questions and to listen well. Otherwise, you're never going to be good at your job. So yeah, be curious, ask questions and listen.
Beautiful advice, Celine. We will end on that note. Yes, thank you again for coming on, Celine. Thank you for being so amazing. And yeah, I'm sure we'll speak again soon.
Thanks a lot for your time, Omar, and for inviting me on this podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to another amazing episode of Go-to-Market Leader Stories, which today is brought to you by Stack's Customer Success Mentorship Program. By joining our program, we will match you with a VP, Director, or Head of Customer Success from a top SaaS scale-up who will mentor you on a one-to-one basis to support your personal and professional career development. On top of that, we'll also give you access to our amazing community platform where you'll be able to connect with all the customer success leaders that we have at Stacked, find jobs, hire candidates for your team, see and attend events upcoming in the customer success calendar, and a whole bunch of other awesome features. If this sounds interesting, you can book a completely free trial mentorship session today. Head over to stack.so and take the next step. Otherwise, see you on the next episode.